Chapter 2, director defends the near 3 hour long running time. That is a headline on this week's MBE Movie News.
Yes, John, this news just coming to us from Cinema Blend. This is in regards to the words from director of It Chapter 2, Andy Muschietti. I hope I pronounced that right. He thinks that sometimes a 3 hour movie isn't just welcome, they're necessary. Now, reading the article, you can see that this had an original cut of 4 hours and it's been cut down to just under 3 hours now. So we were talking before we came on air, John, about this, and in regards to this specific genre, a horror film lasting that long, how do you feel about that? Because I sometimes feel, I actually agree, with the director here. I think sometimes it is necessary to have a film at a certain length. We've seen it with Endgame, it had to be done. In this case, my reason for this was because they are sort of try to cater for two casts here, with obviously the original cast from Chapter 1, the younger cast, and obviously the older versions of themselves, the newer cast coming in as well.
Yes, Stephen, I have no issues with the running time at all. The original It, I say the original, not the mini TV show with Tim Curry.
Yeah.
The one from a couple of years ago, 2017, that was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. So this is only another half an hour on top. It's nothing. I can sit and hold my water for 3-4 hours. It's no issue to me. I'll get tore into a big old bag of popcorn and I'll sit and enjoy this escapism of watching Pennywise wreak utter terror and chaos.
Not a lot of people can hold their water with Pennywise, John.
Oh, I can hold
credit for that. Yeah.
Well, I probably couldn't back in my youthful days, Stephen. I was utterly terrified of Pennywise, the Tim Curry one, and who wouldn't be? He's a very scary guy without the makeup. With the makeup, Jesus Christ, that's nightmarish, Stephen. But Skarsgård's one, I just find it almost laughable at times with that slight squint.
Yeah.
I think that's deliberate.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was, but it is. And I can actually do that with his eyes, because I think it was Bill Hader who asked him, can you do that thing with the eyes? And he did it like that. But look, I digress. I'm going off on a tangent. Not a good start to the show, Stephen. I'm all for it. As I've said time and again, I said it about Avengers Endgame when there was a big hullabaloo, not humbaloo like I says in the previous show.
Yeah.
About
when I hear that word hullabaloo now, I want to do that DiCaprio dance now.
Yeah, a little dance, But when that was breaking about that film potentially being 3 hours long, people were going off their heads and saying it's the end of the world as we know it. They have to put an intermission in the middle. People have to go and do the toilet. Well, I says at the time, that's the creative decision of the directors, in that case, the Russos.
Yeah.
And once again, it's a creative decision of Andy Muschietti here, Stephen. He did the first movie. He's done this second movie as well. It's based on the great Stephen King. The man has a way with words and novels like no other. He just has such rich environments and incredibly fleshed out stories and worlds and characters. He explores so many themes, and that takes time to obviously interweave that out on a big screen adaptation. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see it. And I think I think you're bang on, Stephen, with the reasoning for this. Incredibly long, perhaps some would say. I don't think 2 hours and 45 minutes is all that long. I think it's the multi-generational thing with various different casts and young and old. And
well, that was my concern, John. I actually did say to you, I think we talked about it last week, what I said was the younger cast going to appear in as much this time. You said, I hope so. And I agree with those sentiments. I think they were fantastic. They were excellent as what are they called again? The
Losers Club or Gang.
I can't remember. I always get that mixed up. But yeah, you're right. And the director explains it well. That taking those a good hour out of the original cut hasn't affected the pacing of the film, hasn't affected the storyline. It's very tricky. Give you for instance, with Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, when you have those scenes in the Cantabite sequences, just could not be removed. Same with the Phantom Menace. I'm pretty sure all the sort of Gungan stuff. You couldn't take it out. No. And directors realise that when they're looking at the final cut, the bits they can take out and the bits they can't take out. In this case, the director's he's not very lucky. He's obviously knows what he's doing, and he's able to afford that hour away from the film without it affecting the story. So
I don't want to be bringing up The Last Jedi, Stephen, and the anti-animal cruelty side story plot jetting off to obviously Cantabite. I don't want to bring that up. That could have been cut. Jesus Christ, that could have been cut. I took that 20-minute, whatever it was, whole section, ditched it, and we could have had more of Luke on Act 2, mourning his late friend Han Solo. But Stephen, you're right. It's the creative decision of the director. If they feel like it's not hampering the tone or the pacing, and they're getting good feedback from early screeners, from people, then why would you change it? Ultimately, as I says, I don't think 2 hours and 45 minutes is all that long.
No.
If it's a good movie, some movies feel like they're 2 hours and 45 minutes and 3 hours long. They mention the good, the bad and the ugly. Here it's one of the few which are, you don't want the feeling of a chore or more than like escapism, they say. I felt that was a very long movie, and that's one of my all-time favourite Clint Eastwood movies, but it does feel that long. The Lord of the Rings, one of my all-time favourite trilogies. I love J.R.R. Tolkien, but they feel very long. Avengers Endgame, for me it felt like a 2 hour movie, flew by. By all accounts, this is incredibly scary. I seen Christian Harloff talking about it. He says he was actually terrified at certain parts. I think terrified is maybe stretching it, but he was scared, genuinely scared at certain parts of the movie. So if it's taking you on a roller coaster ride of emotions, it's an interesting story, and they're utilising these two great casts, then I'm all for it. I don't care how long it'd be. I'd happily sit and watch the original 4 hour take of the movie.
You never know, it could be released maybe on digital download, John, you never know.
Release the Muschietti.
Well, they do that. They sometimes do that with, you get the ultimate cut for Batman v Superman as well, which I thought was a better film, but
still not seen that version.
I think it makes sense. It's very interesting to hear those words at this. You know, some film critics out there, reviewers, are saying that this film is scary. I always complain, and it sounds like I don't want them to be scary. I want to be frightened. I want to be scared. I want to jump out my seat with films, horror films, that is. But the first film didn't do that for me. It was more of a creepy vibe to it, disturbing sort of sequences. That painting that came to life, that still sticks with me, but not for the right reasons. The projector scene as well was fantastic.
The house scene as well, with all the different doors and them coming out.
Well, that's
that eerie moment where he gets impaled.
The scene with in the trailer for Chapter 2 with sort of hovering, with the balloons. I thought that was a beautiful shot, but I thought that was very creepy
Stephen,
as well.
The final thing I'll add before we move on is that the one thing I want to see in this movie is more Pennywise. Yeah. Because in the first movie, we obviously seen the scarecrow, I think it was. Yeah. Or the zombie, I think.
That was I think it was some chap with leprosy, was it not?
Yeah, there was various different creatures, horrific creatures. And there wasn't enough Pennywise in the movie. I want to see him dominating the screen time. He's got a bone to pick with these young children that chased him away into his hibernation early, and he didn't get to feed upon enough. He only got Little George's hand. Yeah. No, he got his whole body, actually.
Well, I think George is back in this film, isn't he? I think we've seen some clips from the trailer. So
probably just a haunting.
Sort
of hallucinogenic.
That's why we need Chapter 2, because we do need more of the clown, John. But listen, we'll move on to our next article. This is in regards to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is obviously out on general release over in the US. Sadly, over here we've got to wait another 3 weeks, I think, John. And it has opened strongly. It's Quentin Tarantino's it's best of now for opening figures, $41 million according to Variety. This is fantastic. The buzz about this film as well, John, from what I gather, it's more positive than negative. This beats his previous record for a Tarantino film. I think it was Inglourious Bastards in 2009. I think it was 38 million on its opening. What do you think of that, John? What do you think the opening? I know that you've watched some non-spoiler reviews online.
Can't avoid it.
We're obviously trying to avoid the spoilers and how the film ends, but it's very hard, obviously, on social media, and especially what we do. We're obviously reading articles, we're reading social media constantly.
We've got to try and tap into the news, Stephen, while it's still relevant.
Exactly, and this is very relevant. So what do you make of this, John? Does it surprise you that out of all the Tarantino films, that this has opened the strongest?
No, it doesn't, Stephen, because I think this generation of film-going audiences, I think they're more likely to go out and spend money on a movie than perhaps previous. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm doing the previous generations wrong, because there's more distractions in today's society. So maybe that's just completely wrong. But it just seems to me like there's more and more big blockbuster successes. There's more billion-dollar movies. It just seems like, even though it could begin quietly at the box office at the start of the year, which we have seen in 2019, when they do explode, the big movies explode more than I think they did 10 years ago. Yeah. So I'm not too surprised to see that it's his biggest ever opening. Do I think that artistically it will be as good as a Reservoir Dogs or a Pulp Fiction? Probably not, no. I haven't not seen it.
I think one of the biggest things, John, we talked about it, was obviously this is the first time we're seeing Brad Pitt and Quentin Tarantino, top billing and working together. It's something I never thought we would ever see. I never thought they would have the chemistry they've got either. I just thought, obviously they've got egos. Big movie stars have rivalries and stuff like that. You see it. I don't want to give for instances, but you do see it where they're almost like rivals. And I always assumed that about Brad Pitt and Quentin Tarantino. It's not the case. They seem to get on great. But Margot Robbie as well, playing obviously
Sharon
the
Tate.
tragic Sharon Tate figure. But obviously we've got a movie review on our website just now on the blog from the movie couple as well.
But
it's non-spoiler, John. I've obviously read it. It's been put up. Kevin's put it up. So it's a great review as well. And I don't want to say too much because we will cover this in the blog round in 4 months' time.
I was going to say that, Steve, by the time we actually speak about it on the rundown, we will both have seen the movie, so it's all good.
To be fair, we have up to ante. We're taking 3 films per week now rather than the 2 to try and catch up.
Might need to slow that back down so we don't get to that one before we actually see it. But yeah, Stephen, you're absolutely right about, I think that's the primary reason why the movie has opened the biggest for Quentin. Just that top billing of obviously Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, those two Titanic sort of A-list leading men coming together, unlikely strange bedfellow sort of a partnership. By all accounts, 2 incredible performances from the 2 of them. Brad Pitt's been spoken about for Oscar potential, so is Leonardo DiCaprio. You expect that for Leo though. Just about every movie the man steps into these days, he has an Oscar buzz following him around after his performance.
I think the demographic as well, John, is more open and wider than the likes of The Hateful Eight, which I can see a lot of people.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, I think you should, John.
Because I think we should do a breakdown of his top movies after we've seen this, so I have to go
John,
and watch
so
it.
You will have to see it, but that and Jackie Brown, I believe you've not seen.
I've not seen Jackie Brown either.
It's a decent film, but yeah, I mean that was more of a Western genre, so it's targeted to a demographic that's specifically for that genre. This, I would say this is more open. Especially when you've got a massive fan base for Brad Pitt, massive fan base for Quentin Tarantino, and a massive fan base for Leonardo DiCaprio.
And everybody else in the movie as well, Stephen.
This is Luke Perry's last film as well.
Stephen, and I had seen Leo speaking about he says he was starstruck when he first met him, that he was his sort of a heartthrob hero growing up in the late 90s, early 80s, and it was an absolute honour to meet him. The kindness that exuded out of him as well was apparently tangible. But Stephen, the final thing I'll add about this movie, why I think so many people are drawn to it, why I'm certainly drawn to it, is the authenticity of the setting and the period piece. We spoke about it on an audio show back in the day that he was shutting down whole parts of Hollywood Boulevard in LA and changing it back into 1969, and I've seen him speaking about it as well, how it's like almost like a homage, him going back and celebrating his childhood, the version of Hollywood he knew, and just the concept of this industry changing and these 2 guys getting left behind and not being able to cope with the changing times and almost living side by side with Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate, who were the pinnacle of this sort of a movement of changing filmmaking in LA at the time. I can't wait to see it. I think that's a primary reason as well. The top billing, the cast in general, just Tarantino back after 4 years, I think it was 2015, The Hateful Eight, and just the period setting and the fact that he's not utilised CG, he's literally shut down roads. I think 8 days he shut down Hollywood Boulevard in 2 4-day segments, and he's changed it practically to the
I heard that there's no
1969.
CG involved in the transformation, John. It's all practical effects. But
cannot wait.
Listen, we'll move on to another legendary director, and a film that we're anticipating as well this year. It's been much talked about for the past 2-3 years. We've certainly spoke about it a few times on our podcasts back in the day. We also got that trailer, which was a strange. It was a bullet, very disappointing, I have to say.
I heard you paint Walsh, or something like that. I think that's a famous quote. I don't
make trailers, but I was very disappointed with that one because I'm so looking forward to this film. It has been announced that it's getting its world premiere set for the 57th New York Film Festival. This is obviously the film starring the likes of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
Robert Downey.
As you said, Ray Romano's in it. I didn't realise that. Obviously coming out of retirement is Joe Pesci. This is obviously the film. It's going to follow the sort of story about the Irishman. It's Frank Sheeran, who Robert De Niro is playing, and obviously is reputed to have carried out more than 25 murders. Al Pacino will portray infamously slain Labour leader Jimmy Hoffa, and Joe Pesci, I think he is playing he's playing some Pennsylvania mafia boss, Russell Buffalino. It's for release for autumn, John, on Netflix and obviously theatres. I don't know what theatres we'll get over here that will release that, or it'll just come straight to Netflix for the UK, I'm not sure. I would expect we're going to get a proper trailer soon then.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. If they've finished the de-aging technology, which I think has caused so much of this inflation in terms of budget and just time scales being moved. Obviously, it's a very intricate and sort of a complicated story to have going on here. I didn't realise they were actually following them through the various parts of our life, and that it was so complicated in terms of the de-aging. I thought it would have just utilised flashbacks, perhaps, to younger scenes, akin to what we've seen in The Godfather 2, with De Niro playing the younger Don Corleone, and obviously Al Pacino playing Michael Corleone, I think it was. It's been a while since I've seen it. If I'm wrong, that's an absolute scandal. I need to
no, it's not.
have a word with myself. But Stephen, very excited for it as well, man. Steve Zalian is the guy who's penned the script. He done Schindler's List, American Gangster. They've got all the right people in here. It is based on the novel, incidentally, by Charles Brandt. I heard you paint houses. That's what he said. I heard you paint houses, not walls, I think I said previously. Talking crap. But it's such an intriguing concept, just the story, looking at these big hitmen, these mobsters in the 1970s, I believe, and just this slaying of this sort of a Labour leader, this infamous sort of a figure. What did you say his name was, Stephen? It's played by Al Pacino. I can't get the name on me right now.
Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa. So apparently it's a very interesting story. There's been a novel penned about it. You're getting the right people on board. I think it's correct that they're perhaps premiering it at the New York Film Festival in September, October. If it's coming out, you says late October, or is it the fall?
It just says the fall, which is autumn over here.
Well, saying that, they're probably not actually giving it much time then in terms of buzzing word of mouth. Then it's probably right on the release date, the wide release. This is a Netflix movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
And then it's getting a wide release because of obviously Scorsese being involved. The other thing that really surprised me, Stephen, was the fact that this is the first time Al Pacino is working with Martin Scorsese. I find that mind blowing. Obviously, I know De Niro has worked with him time and again to great success, but Al Pacino has never worked with Scorsese. That's crazy. Joe Pesci coming back as well out of retirement. Great to see all these guys that are so synonymous with the mobster sort of a genre coming together, perhaps for the last time, and we're getting this great epic sort of a story. I love what they're saying as well, Stephen. A critic saying that there's so many things. It's rich, it's funny, troubling, entertaining, like all great movies, absolutely singular. It's the work of masters made with a command of the art of cinema that I've rarely seen in my lifetime. It plays out at a level of subtlety and human intimacy that really stunned me. That really does bode very well for this movie. I cannot wait, man. It's been so long, I cannot wait.
We've talked about it for such a long time now, John. We've been very excited about this film, and the fact we're getting this news now offers hope that we will finally be getting to see this film this year.
Will we see the New Mutants? Oh, this is the big question, Stephen. That just came into my mind.
That was my most anticipated film for 2018. So
I'll tell you why it came into my mind, because I'm watching Stranger Things right now. And the chap who's in it, whose name eludes me at the moment, always does. I always forget the bloody names. He's in the New Mutants, and obviously the big delay came into my mind.
Well, hopefully we'll see that soon, and we can talk about that. But listen, we'll move on to our final article this week, John. It's a sort of a light-hearted, well, not for Dave Bautista, it's not, he's raging. For us anyway, it's Dave Bautista sounds frustrated about a Gears of War movie. He said he's tried everything with the studios to get this film made. Back in the day, John, you and I had Gears of War, and I wasn't really a big fan of it, to be honest with you. The novelty was obviously the online gaming. This was back in 2006. Obviously, there's been various versions of this film, but Dave Bautista did say this on Twitter, I think it was, at Dave Bautista. They're listening, and they could give a F.
I think you meant couldn't, but
but thank you for the support. Believe me when I say I've tried everything to make this happen. He certainly has. Funnily enough, he does resemble that
He really
character.
does.
And I can see why a lot of people would like to see Bautista play this character. Now, as we know, he's a man that gets upset about things very easily. Obviously, the whole James Gunn Disney thing as well.
Well, it worked, some would say.
So you never know. If he keeps going on about it, you never know. We might see a Gears of War film. Would you like to see that though, John? Is there sort of scope there to make a film?
Oh, I don't know, Stephen, because it is the video game transition over to cinema again, which is time and again really failed to materialise in terms of box office success for studios. I don't think any big studio will want to touch this. If this is going to happen, I could see it more manifesting itself in like a TV show on Netflix or on Amazon, or perhaps on some other bloody streaming services. There's that many now, I'm losing the plot. I don't think I would want to see it as a movie, no. I'd like to see a Halo movie before I'd like to see a Gears of War.
No.
There's talk about, I think, a TV show, Stephen, but again,
I think
it's not materialised.
this seems to be a thing. I know that Rampage was based on a video game very loosely, but you get the likes of, I'm not sure, was Dwayne Johnson in the film Doom? Can't remember, but that was obviously based on the famous platform game as well. And 9 times out of 10, these things don't work. I think Tomb Raider's probably one of the very few ones that have kind of had mild success, but they don't often work for me or anyone else for that matter.
No, Stephen, we obviously seen J.J. Abrams. I think it was his production company. He didn't direct it. Utilised a similar concept to, I think it's Castle, oh God, what's it called? The one where it's like an alternate reality and they go off and fight Nazis in the future.
Oh yeah.
It's Overlord.
The hike, what was that called again? Can't remember.
Yeah, I can't. But I never played the game, incidentally. But it was Overlord was loosely based on that concept, and that had kind of success. It was a cult sort of a release. People seemed to band around it and enjoyed it. In terms of this, I think if you're going to cast anybody to play the leading role, as Marcus Phoenix, I believe his name is. It's been a number of years since I played it. I probably couldn't pick a better person than Dave Bautista. He's still trying to develop as an actor, expand his range out, and obviously mature like Dwayne Johnson did before him. So this would probably be the perfect role for him if it was to ever happen.
I think I mentioned earlier in the week I did go along to see Stuber. Based on the actual cast, and the storyline sounded okay, but he's not quite there yet as a leading man. Unfortunately, he's a good guy. I do like him, so I will cut him some slack there because I want to see him succeed. I want to see him take that same path as Dwayne Johnson has, because I think he's got the capabilities. I think he's got the charisma as well. He's got the humour. Very similar. I think all these wrestlers, ex-wrestlers, have all got that humour.
Yeah, they've got the charisma as well, Steve.
John Cena as well, you know. So I would like to see him succeed. Stuber, I think that's why they put back that other film, the one, the sort of spy one.
Girl, detective one or whatever.
To next year. I think they got the early vibes of Stuber not succeeding, unfortunately. But this film, or I think it's a good idea what you said, John, maybe broken into some sort of television series may work.
Stephen, I've seen it with Halo. There was a short little mini-series celebrating, I think it was the release of Halo 4. Yeah. And it was brilliant. It was beautifully put together, quite low budget, but it captured the time period beautifully, the futuristic setting. And it was showing you like a day in the life of just regular battalion soldiers, and it was very, very well done. If they can utilise a similar thing and expand it up into this scale, because certainly the story of Gears of War, it's got potential there. It's this post-apocalyptic setting, the humanity's fighting really on its last legs against this just never-ending horde of alien creatures. Potential's there if we can do it right and get the right people on board, but I think studios are just not keen on taking the risk with video games, adapting them into movies, because it's just failed time and again, and a movie like this would require a very big budget for it to succeed. But you're absolutely right about Bautista, Stephen. I'd love to see the man succeed. He's a very nice chap, as you did say, off screen. It exudes charisma, and you really need to be a professional wrestler. You have to enthrall thousands of people every single week, every single night. Incidentally, they do road shows that are not on TV, so you need to have a level of confidence about you. So certainly that's transcended over his acting career. Haven't seen Stuber, don't know anything about it. Was it fairly nuanced as a genre? What the hell was it about? Because certainly I think he's more better utilised in comedic roles. It
was trying to be a comedy film, John. Yeah. I would say more often than not the jokes didn't work, unfortunately. The ones that did were tired, to be honest with you, but sadly it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I think that's him just trying to tie in from his character from Guardians, utilising the humour. I think he's more suited to to action movies just now, then he can develop himself as an actor.
Exactly.
And then expand out.
Keep
in
his
different
comedy
roles.
for Guardians.
Exactly, because he's very funny in it.
Yeah.
Drax.
That's it.
Drax, yeah.
But listen, not got any more time, I'm afraid. So
No.
that brings us to the end of this week's MB Movie News. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back again tomorrow with the blog rundown.